What up, sports fans? Waxon Wednesday, Jake Waxman, Tom Level, two guys talk sports. Let's do this. Oh boy. Okay. Sports fans, for those of you who have been watching college football, Purdue's been trending a lot this year. And not in all the right ways. Just to say the least. It's looking like that kind of season again for Purdue. They're 1-3 at the moment, and right now the season looks just as lost as ever. I don't know how many more games they're gonna. I just hope they win another game at this point. I don't think we're gonna hold on to the cannon nor the bucket, because both Illinois and Indiana look way better this year. Like not just against Purdue, but against all of the rest of the Big Ten. Those two teams look really good, and Purdue's just looks like a team that has taken way too many strides backwards, to say the least. Here's the thing. It's a coaching problem. That's, as of right now, I think the coaches are most to blame. The team just looks like it hasn't taken any strides forward since last season. And right now, there's the lack of confidence, lack of good energy, lack of focus, lack of discipline. The defense, a lot of these games, okay, with the exception of the Notre Dame game, they've played as hard as they can, but still, I think they need more reinforcements in recruiting to be a more vaunted defense right now, or to be a better defense. So they're lacking that depth still, and tackling still remains a problem, amongst other things. So there's that. Special teams is not doing too bad for Purdue, but you can't have special teams carrying a football team. The biggest problems for Purdue this year, football wise, have been mostly on offense, if not the entire thing. Offense has been way problematic. Like defense, they played hard. Offense has just struggled. They had one good game, and that was against a weak Indiana State team. And other than that, there's not been one good effort from the offense this season. I don't know. There's guys on that offense like Devin Mockabee and Reggie Love III, and even Max Clare. Those guys are giving it their all, and there are quite a few others. Even Gus Hartwig still giving it his all as well in his fifth year. So there's guys playing hard. I mean, there's no certainty of that, but the problem has been the offense, unfortunately, and a lot of it has to do with coaching. Offensive coordinator Graham Harrell. And before I get into Graham Harrell, I just want to say this. Every time so far this season, the offense, before every game this season, the offense has just not looked confident. They've looked defeated, actually, before even taking one snap. Before every game. Like, there's just no confidence. And hey, that falls on Graham Harrell, who, by the way, was fired by Ryan Walters in Purdue football the day after the Nebraska game. So, so he is no longer the offensive coordinator. So this move really is just another move to kind of salvage what's pretty much left early on of what's otherwise going to be another lost season of Purdue football. And just in case you were wondering, his replacement is a guy who has done a lot of coaching in high school and did some coaching at Miami of Ohio. The new offensive coordinator for the Purdue Boilermakers is now Jason Simmons. I wish him all the best. So, and I just want to say this. Graham Harrell, good guy, works hard. But unfortunately, this change had to happen. The offense was going the offense wasn't going anywhere fast. It was regressing really fast. It was getting ugly. Like, the offense, in the game against Nebraska, the offense didn't score a touchdown until garbage time, pretty much. That's how bad it was. Of course, they did score the first points in that game on a field goal, but wasn't nothing. That's not saying anything at all, really. So it's tough. But these are what I'm telling you. These are the reasons Purdue football is struggling. You know, just a lack of identity with this program right now. But we just have no idea what the direction is, and there's real concern. And even, Ryan Walters deserves accountability too. Maybe he's way in over his head. I like the guy, but he might be in over his head, just much like how Graham Harrell was in over his head as the offensive coordinator for Purdue. And Purdue is a football school that's not a football school in terms of like legacy and culture and that stuff, but in terms of the football program, Purdue is a program that focuses mostly on offense. I knew there was a big risk hiring a man who's defensive minded, and so far right now, it's not paying off for Purdue football. The program looks like it has taken strides backwards, and in just the second year. So right now, I just hope Purdue wins another game, and then another after that. We'll see. There's just right now, there's just not much to look forward to. And like I said, the offense has been the big problem. Defense, they play hard. They're just not. They still got a lot to build up, and just still a lot to figure out too on defense and coaching. But this all also falls on coaching. Like I said, I like Graham Morrell's a good man, but letting him go was the right call at this point because he was just way in over his head trying to build an offense here at Purdue. And Ryan Walters, he's got a lot of work to do, and he's got to figure things out. I think he bought himself some time with the firing of Graham Harrell. But if he doesn't get the offensive coordinator hiring right, he could be gone next season if things get much worse in year 3. So, but one thing's for sure, lost season for Purdue football, and already the fan base is already thinking about basketball season. Which leads me to subject number 2. So we are less than a month away from Purdue basketball returning. And next week I'll probably get into Big Ten basketball, a preview for Big Ten basketball. Hopefully I remember that, because sometimes I forget. But I'll focus on Purdue basketball for now. So, I mean, they got an exhibition game or a charity game at Creighton this upcoming month, or in October, late October. That's when they have the charity game, and that's going to be an exhibition. I'll look forward to watching that. So before then, I guess I'll look back on last season one more time, which historic season for Purdue basketball. Best season I've ever seen in my lifetime, and just a season that will never be forgotten in the annals of Purdue basketball history. Again, Purdue went to the Final Four for the first time since 1980, and Purdue basketball went to the national championship for the first time since '69 during the Rick Mount days. And of course, you had Zach Edey leading the charge. And while Purdue did not win a national championship, of course, falling to the buzzsaw that was UConn basketball, still nonetheless, that Purdue team historically was a great, great basketball team. UConn was simply better. But that's last year, historic season for Purdue basketball, and so much achieved. Like I said, I wanted a Final Four appearance, and I got it. And my father, who's a Purdue alum, he got to go to Arizona to watch the Final Four. That's just how magical and just how amazingly historic. Any adjectives you can think of. What a season last season was for Purdue. Last season was truly special if you were a Purdue basketball fan, and it's a great time to be a Purdue basketball fan. But of course now, that is in the past, and now we move on to this upcoming season. So Purdue will look to try and repeat that historic run it had last season. But it's not going to be easy. So there are those who think that Purdue will probably take steps backwards, and a lot of that is because Zach Edey is now playing in the NBA for the Memphis Grizzlies. So he's not going to be with the team, all right? Along with a couple guys like Mason Gillis and Ethan Morton and Lance Jones. So some valuable losses for Purdue on that end. But none more than Zach Edey. That's the big loss. So Purdue, this is what this season's going to focus on. Life after Zach Edey. So what's this Purdue team going to look like without Zach Edey? We're about to find out. Now, will they win a Big Ten championship? We'll see. But I still think this Purdue team can be a very good team. And I still think they'll make the NCAA tournament with what they've got. Especially what they got coming in. And, of course, the experience they bring back. Purdue does bring back a lot of minutes from last season. So, you still got Braden Smith. Purdue still has Braden Smith, who's been learning under Zach Edey's wing. And now it's his turn to break out and lead this Purdue Boilermakers team. Fantastic point guard, and one that's only going to continue to get better. And by the way, he is a preseason Big Ten Player of the Year nominee. So there's that. And I think he's, like I said, I think this is a guy that's going to elevate his game. And you know what? He's going to ball out for Purdue. He'll have to do a bit more now with Zach Edey being gone, but he's good about getting the ball where it needs to go. It's just a matter of who's he going to get that ball. Who is Braden Smith going to get the ball to next? I will say this: we could see a lot of this. We could see a lot of Braden Smith getting the ball to Trey Kaufman-Renn, who I think took a great strides forward during the NCAA tournament as well as last season. So expect he'll be back, and I think he's gonna be in his junior year. So I think he's gonna be much improved, and I think he's got a lot to show, and he could be a guy that starts at the 5 for Purdue. So we could see so Trey Kaufman-Renn could see a lot of action at the 5. And also you got guys like Fletcher Lawyer coming back, and Fletcher Lawyer, hey, don't overlook him. He's a reliable shooter. Sure, he has some consistency issues, but hey, when he's on it, he's on it, and he can hit some big shots for Purdue. He's still got that great arm and a great shot for Purdue. And he's been working out during the offseason, straightening up, bulking up. So those 3 guys, those are going to be critical guys for Purdue. Fletcher Lawyer, Trey Kaufman-Renn, and Braden Smith. Those guys will definitely be starters, and they'll see a lot of minutes. And it'll be interesting to see how Purdue balances out minutes between guys. And here's another thing. You got sophomores like Cam Heide and Miles Colvin, who I think are primed to break out in their sophomore years. Last year was a learning experience for both of them, but this upcoming season, both of them could be very big time for Purdue. They'll get a lot more minutes, and I could see them being starters. And then there's also Wilhelm Berg from Sweden. How many minutes is he going to get? Or what's Matt Painter have in mind for him? I could see him getting some more minutes, depending on what Purdue decides also to do with one of their whether or not Purdue decides to redshirt a certain big freshman. And speaking of the freshmen, Purdue's got 5 incoming freshmen. 5 guys incoming. So, I mentioned the guys who are returning. Also, don't forget Caleb First and Brian Waddell. They'll be back. But keep an eye on this freshman class for the Purdue Boilermakers. Especially, the one to keep an eye on in terms of the freshmen for Purdue is Jakari Harris. The son of Big Dog. And I do mean Glenn Robinson. That's right, Jakari Harris is Glenn Robinson's son. Now, in terms of what's with the different last name, I couldn't tell you 100%. I don't know what's going on in that family, but Jakari Harris is Glenn Robinson's son, and he's here to play basketball for Purdue. No doubt he will probably get some big minutes for Purdue. It'll be interesting to see what he does, and I'm also keeping an eye on whether or not Daniel Jacobson, the 7'3" freshman center for Purdue. That's right. That's Purdue's next big man, or next incoming big man, Daniel Jacobson. Question is, does he redshirt or not? Just depends on whether or not Matt Painter thinks he's ready. Still time to evaluate things. And also, in terms of freshmen, keep an eye on guys. Here's any of the guys. CJ Cox, that's another name to keep an eye on. Could be a diamond. Right now, with the way things are looking, he looks like a diamond in the rough for Purdue from what I've seen. A hidden gem for the Boilermakers. Keep an eye on him. And also, there's Raleigh Burgess and Jack Benner, who's also made an impression in early camp for the Boilermakers. So, a lot of different ways that this Purdue lineup can go and how the minutes can be bounced. But I could see I don't know if they'll repeat as Big Ten champs, but this could be a faster lineup for Purdue. So I'll end this preview of Purdue basketball 2024-25 here's my projection for the starting 5. I'm going to go with, so we know Braden Smith and Lawyer. They're going to be starters. And then I've got Trey Kaufman-Renn, Camden Heide, and Miles Colvin. Those will be your starters, I think. And the only senior on the team is Caleb First, who I think will take less minutes, or will play less minutes. But he is the only senior on this team. So, with all that now being said, these are some of my early thoughts for Purdue basketball. Be interesting to see where things go once November rolls around. But, man, I can't wait for basketball. All right, and on to my final subject. Okay, so, it's not just basketball that's returning. I believe, we got hockey coming back. We already got preseason hockey. The Blackhawks are also back. The Red Wings are back. Everybody's back. I've seen a little bit of action. So, I guess I'll start with my Blackhawks. Okay, last season, not a great season, but I didn't expect it to be a great season. I didn't expect them to be a playoff team. I just hoped they'd be improved. And I just hope that Connor Bedard would show what he's capable of. And even though he had an injury in his rookie season, he still won the Calder Trophy. So clearly, Connor Bedard lived up to expectations in his rookie season, and I think he's only going to get better. Of course, I expect that he'll have more goals, more assists, more of everything that compared to what he had last season. But of course, I'm presuming, of course, he's going to play a full season. You never know sometimes. But I do think Bedard's going to improve a lot, and that's going to help the Blackhawks improve a lot. I'm curious also to see how the defense does, especially with the addition of Artem Lezhinov, the defenseman from Michigan State. Honestly, I thought that was one of the guys that the Blackhawks were looking to draft, and it didn't surprise me that too much they took him, although I thought they'd take a different guy instead, but the Blackhawks did have needs on defense, and I do expect that this guy is going to make his debut at some point for the Blackhawks. So I'm curious to see what Lezhinov brings to the table, and I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do to improve this Blackhawks defense. Seeing him play alongside like Connor Murphy, for example. And we got a couple other guys. And speaking of additions, okay, so I mentioned that I'm curious to see what guys like Frank Nazar can do for the Black. Frank Nazar, I think, is going to be a mighty fine player for the Blackhawks. I think he's got a lot of promise, and I think he brings a lot to the table. And I'm also looking forward to seeing more from Kevin Korchinski on the defensive end. Lucas Reichel, can he have a bounce back season? He had a rough year last year. We'll see what more he brings. And also, the Blackhawk, it's a homecoming for another former Blackhawk, Teuvo Teravainen, who helped the Blackhawks win the Stanley Cup in 2015. What does he bring to the table now from his time in Carolina? He helped the Blackhawks win as I mentioned, he helped the Blackhawks win the Stanley Cup in 2015, but was traded due to cap space issues for the Blackhawks. But now he's back. Hopefully he can help this team be better. And then other players, and I meant Nick Foligno. He'll probably be a captain. Let's see. And he's helped Connor Bedard out a lot. Let's see. And also, in terms of goaltenders, now, I have no doubt Peter Mrazek's going to be the starter for the Blackhawks. Question is, who will be the backup? That we're going to find out. So, early thoughts so far on the Blackhawks. I'm just happy hockey's back. I mean, I don't expect the Blackhawks, for the record, to be a playoff team with the roster that they have, but I do think they're going to be a better team this year, and I think they're going to continue to improve and decline. So, again, I don't think they'll be a playoff team, but they'll improve. Might take some time, but you know what? I think this team is trending in the right direction. How long it takes to get back to the postseason is another matter. And on one final note, I was looking forward to Oliver Moore making his debut for the Blackhawks. I'm just not sure that's going to happen this season due to the fact that he is playing one more season at the University of Minnesota, which is fine by me because, hey, player development, always key. These things I'm telling you, early thoughts on the Chicago Blackhawks going into a new season of National Hockey League hockey. All right. On to this day in sports history. Sorry about that, sportsman. And on this day, the 1st of October, 2009, the International Olympic Committee votes to award Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, the rights to host the Games of the 31st Olympiad, or otherwise the 2016 Summer Olympics and Summer Paralympics. All right, sports fans, before I sign off for today, I just want to send my condolences and my thoughts and prayers to the families of both Dikembe Mutombo and Pete Rose. So, for those of you who don't know, both Dikembe Mutombo and Pete Rose, they were giants of their sports. Mutombo was a giant of basketball, literally and figuratively, and Pete Rose shattered a lot of records in baseball, and he should be in the Hall of... Honestly, the majority of me says put him in the Hall of Fame. Please, come on, MLB. Just do it. But both of those two passed away this weekend, and my thoughts and prayers are with the families of both of those two. And keep the families of both Dikembe Mutombo and Pete Rose in your thoughts and prayers. Keep them in your thoughts and prayers, please. Rest in peace, Dikembe Mutombo, and rest in peace, Pete Rose. All right, sports fans, that is all I got for this week's Waxon Wednesday. Thank you for watching. This is Jake Waxman from Two Guys Talk Sports, wishing you all a good week.